This episode of Tutcast is brought to you by GoDaddy.com. Use the coupon code TUT1 and save an additional 10% off your GoDaddy.com purchases. Hey there, welcome to another Photoshop tutorial from Tutcast.com. In my very last video, I used something called an adjustment layer in order to adjust the hue and saturation of the image that I was working on. And a few people asked me, either what is an adjustment layer or why should I use an adjustment layer rather than adding an adjustment directly on top of the image. Now an adjustment layer gives you a non-destructive way of editing your images, which means further down the line, whether you close your document or you've just added so many steps to your document it would hurt you to actually go back in the history, you can very simply edit that step you've done where you adjusted your image. So I'm going to be showing you two examples in this tutorial. The first example is the way that most people tend to do it, and that's where they add an adjustment directly on top of their image. And the second example is the non-destructive way of doing it, where you can add an adjustment layer so later on down the line you can go back and very easily make changes to that adjustment. Here's example 1. Most people would go to Image, Adjustment, and then choose the adjustment that they want to add to their image. Let's say we want to add a photo filter. So we're going to go ahead and click on Photo Filter, and here's the Photo Filter dialog box. And we're going to select a cooling filter and increase the density quite a bit. Let's say to 50%. It gives a nice cooling effect on top of the image. We're going to click OK. And we're going to save our document, close our document, and then open it up once again. Now you'll notice in the layers palette, if we head over here, you'll notice that the adjustment was applied to that original layer. So if we want to go ahead and make changes to it or remove it completely, we can't. It's permanently stuck on that layer. That's definitely not a non-destructive way of doing it. So let's go ahead and close this document, and this time we're going to apply the exact same adjustment but in the form of an adjustment layer. So to do this, we're going to go to the bottom of our layers palette, and you will see a white and black icon. If you click on that, we can go ahead and select the exact same adjustment that we did before. So we're going to go ahead and select Photo Filter. Now if you're on Photoshop CS4, it's going to come up as a panel, or a palette, whatever you want to call it. If you're on Photoshop CS3, you'll get the exact same dialog box that you did before. It's exactly the same, don't worry about it. And just like we did before, we're going to go ahead and select a cooling filter and increase the density to 50%. And there we go, we have the exact same effect that we had before. And if we head over to our layers palette, let me bring this up a little bit, you'll notice we have a new layer. That is our adjustment layer. And if we go ahead and hide this layer, we can see our original layer. Or if we double click on the icon right here, we can go ahead and adjust the adjustment that we just applied. So let's say in this image we don't want it as cooling as it is. We can very simply turn the density down, just like this. So let's say, like we did before, we go ahead and save our document, close our document, and then reopen our document. And here is our document, and in our layers palette, we still have that adjustment layer. So even if we close our document and then reopen it, or we're 100 steps ahead and we don't have our history state still open, we can very simply make adjustments to the adjustment layer and not have to worry about anything being permanently stuck on your original layer. So if you don't use adjustment layers, start using them. Never ever ever apply an adjustment directly on top of your image, because later on down the line, if you want to go ahead and edit that adjustment, make some changes to it, or completely delete it, you can't. But with this way, you can very simply bring up your layers palette, make some changes to it, or completely delete it. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please comment and rate this video, start using adjustment layers, and until next time, this is Howard from Tutcast.com. Take care.